Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in tonight. This is EmoNews, every moment online. In tonight's headlines, UE Global Campus Dominica hosts 2025 Early Childhood Education Commencement. Portsmouth Secondary School Class of 1990 hosts reunion, donates to alma mater. Dana Granu officially sashed as Miss Dominica Carnival Queen contestant at ceremony sponsored by PDV Caribbean Limited. Dr. Thompson Fontaine addresses media as UWP hosts first post-delegates press conference. Over 12,000 St. Lucia public sector workers receive $500 Christmas bonus. And Putin says Russia forces advancing in Ukraine as war enters another winter. Details of these stories and more coming up next. Stay with us.
Blast Gaming presents its biggest job whatever. Blast Mystery Progressive. I'm so excited. I can't hide it. The new Blast up and rising. And I like it. It going up and up and up and up and up. Blast up and up and up and up and up and up.
Play selected games to win in the Blast Mystery Progressive. Pick until you match 3 gems and win one of the 5 cash jackpots. Or you can blast up with the Mystery Progressive jackpot.
It going up and up and up and up and up. Blast up and up and up. Blast Gaming.
Welcome back everyone. I'm your presenter Rick Francis and this is the news broadcast for the 19th of December 2025. In local news this evening, the official sashing ceremony of Miss Dominica Carnival Queen contestant Dana Granu, sponsored by PDV Caribbean Limited, took place earlier today. Chief Executive Officer of Discover Dominica, Miss Marva Williams, expressed gratitude to Petro Caribbean for coming on board as a sponsor, highlighting the company's continued support for culture and pageantry.
The Miss Dominica pageant remains more than just a pageant. It is an important platform for youth development, cultural preservation, and national pride. We've seen so many of our contestants become pillars of society, like lawyers and teachers and even models and so much more. The pageant plays a critical role within the wider framework of Dominica's Carnival, which is not only a celebration of our creativity, but also a major driver of tourism, employment, and economic activity. We are therefore deeply grateful to Petro Caribbean for investing in the Miss Dominica pageant, and I believe the last time that you sponsored a contestant, she won, that was Tasia Flozak a few years ago. Sorry? No? Okay. Yes, it was Tasia Flozak. This sponsorship represents more than the financial support. It reflects confidence in our young ladies and also in Miss Granu, and belief in the value of Dominica's cultural institution. So as we look ahead to Carnival, this announcement also serves for a call to action. Dominica's Carnival is a national product, growing tremendously. Its success depends strongly on partnership and stakeholder collaboration with the private sector and the wider public. While organizations like the Ministry of Tourism and BDA continue to play our part through the Dominica Festivals Committee, sustained growth requires great corporate sponsorship, community involvement, and national support. So we want to encourage businesses and organizations and individuals to see Carnival not as an expense, but as an investment in brand visibility, national identity, and economic return.
Meanwhile, Mr. Eric Serra, sales and marketing leader at PDV Caribbean Limited, said the company is pleased to be associated with the Miss Dominica Carnival Queen competition, noting that PDV Caribbean has a strong history of alignment with past winners of the prestigious title.
PDV Caribbean Dominica Limited is honored to announce its sponsorship of Miss Dana Granu as she prepares to compete in the 2026 Miss Dominica pageant. This support reflects our deep commitment to culture and investing in opportunities that showcase our nation's talent, confidence, and community spirit. Over the years, PDV Caribbean Dominica Limited have been a valued supporter of pageantry and cultural initiatives in Dominica, proudly contributing to the development of young women who have gone to achieve national success, as the director indicated earlier. Among those, she mentioned Tassia Flosak, and likewise persons like Alicia Button and Nadia Orlando, both were sponsored by us and became queen. Both of whom earned this prestigious title of Miss Dominica, demonstrating excellence, cultural pride, and leadership on behalf of our country. Ms. Dana Grano will do just that in the not too distant future.
Ms. Grano also shared remarks during the ceremony, expressing heartfelt thanks to PDV Caribbean Limited and all sponsors for their support as she prepares for the upcoming competition.
Today, I stand before you with a heart filled with gratitude, humility, and pride as I am officially sacked as Miss Petra Caribbean in the Miss Dominica 2026 Carnival Queen Pageant. This moment is not just a personal milestone, but a call to serve, lead, and engage positively. I am especially honored to walk this journey under the aegis of Petra Caribbean Limited, a company whose dedication to energy affordability, social responsibility, and economic development continues to contribute sustainably to our island's progress. Petra Caribbean's commitment is especially seen in many eastern communities, including my hometown of Atkinson, furnishing our homes and supporting our livelihoods. Personally, their sponsorship comes full circle to me. For over 10 years, my mother has proudly served as a vendor with this company, and through her dedication, I witnessed firsthand the values of hard work, consistency, and partnership that Petra Caribbean represents.
The University of the West Indies Global Campus Dominica hosted its Early Childhood Education, Care and Development Commencement Ceremony 2025, celebrating the achievements of graduating students in the program. Dr. Kimon Joseph, head of UE Global Campus Dominica, welcomed graduates, faculty, families, and invited guests, and provided an overview of the program, highlighting its role in strengthening the foundation of early childhood education across the island.
It's certainly an honor for me to welcome you all to this commencement ceremony today on behalf of the staff and students of the UWI Global Campus in Dominica. We first offered training in early childhood education, care and development some years ago, but there was a temporary halt in 2012. At the start of the academic year 2019-2020, Mrs. Vida George, coordinator of the Early Childhood Education Program in the Ministry of Education, made a visit to the UWI Global Campus Dominica site with an urgent request to revitalize the program. She dedicated time to work with the sites and with our other UWI colleagues to review the program and to provide a solid input concerning the serious need for ensuring that teaching practice, as well as a firm understanding of early childhood education leadership and management, were included in the program. Mrs. George, who was later joined by Mrs. Christian Alfred, assisted the Dominica site to transform the 2-year certificate face-to-face program into one that incorporated interactive tools that could withstand the uncertainty of COVID and whatever would come beyond by allowing the courses to be facilitated via Zoom. And so, after almost a full year of planning, shifting, marketing, sourcing funds, our program commenced with cohort 1, smack dab in the middle of the pandemic in 2020-2021.
Minister for Education, Human Resource Planning, Vocational Training, and National Excellence, Honorable Octavia Alfred, congratulated the graduates and reaffirmed the Ministry of Education's and the government's recognition of the critical value of early childhood education. She emphasized that investing in early childhood development is a key to shaping well-rounded, confident, and capable citizens.
So as early childhood educators, we graduates, I charge you to go out there and present yourself. Not like with pride or puffed up, but present yourself. It's not just a preschool teacher. It's not just a babysitter's club. We have moved past this kind of thinking. Because today represents months of academic preparation, practical training, classroom observation, and personal sacrifice. It represents young mothers balancing evening classes. Some of you have your own grandchildren or children, nani, mommy, and they don't know I'm trying to do something. So that was a big sacrifice. It represented more teachers borrowing time from their families. It represented determination, discipline, and a call to serve. So to our graduates, I extend my deepest congratulations. You have answered a national need. You have stepped into a noble profession. You have embraced the responsibility that not every educator is brave enough to accept. I didn't say qualified enough, I said brave. The Ministry of Education and the government, by extension, recognizes the value and dignity of early childhood education and early childhood educators as the foundation upon which all levels of education are built. The presence of trained early childhood educators significantly improves literacy readiness, motor skills, emotional stability, and social development. When we invest in early childhood, we reduce remedial education, improve national performance, strengthen families, and support lifelong learning. Therefore, this sector is not babysitting, as I said, and it is not an optional convenience. Mother working, father working, nobody to leave the child. Send the child preschool. No, it's not that. It is education. It is science. It is national development.
Outstanding student Lyncia Prince delivered remarks focusing on the importance of play in early childhood education, noting that play-based learning is essential to children's cognitive and emotional development.
Is the tendency to underestimate the importance of play in the early years. Let's be honest with ourselves. How many times have we questioned the value of play? Play, often dismissed as a waste of time, is in fact fundamental to a child's development. As the saying goes, you don't know what you've got until it's gone. And this couldn't be more true when it comes to the importance of play in early childhood education. Albert Einstein once said that play is the highest form of research. The dimensions of learning that unfold through play are truly remarkable. Take something as simple as a puzzle. Just by assembling a puzzle, children develop problem-solving skills. Children develop critical thinking skills, patience, persistence, spatial awareness, and hand-eye coordination. Consider the experience of playing with dolls. In those moments, children cultivate nurturing skills and language abilities through conversations with their babies. Furthermore, they learn the foundations of empathy and social interactions. It's essential that all children, regardless of their gender, are given the opportunity to engage with toys that promote nurturing behavior. How can we expect them to grow into well-rounded citizens and compassionate fathers and mothers without these experiences. So, the next time you find yourself questioning the value of play, remember that early childhood education is not just about guiding children to their next educational milestone. On the contrary, it's about equipping them with the life skills they will carry with them forever.
The ceremony also featured lively entertainment and inspiring first performances, adding to the celebratory atmosphere of the event. The program concluded with graduates proudly receiving their certificates, marking the successful completion of their studies and the beginning of their professional journey in early childhood education. The Portsmouth Secondary School, PSS, class of 1990, hosted a class reunion under the theme, In That, marked by a brief but meaningful ceremony held earlier today, during which a donation was made to the school. Former student Earl Victor reflected on his days at Portsmouth Secondary School and expressed heartfelt thanks to the reunion committee for organizing the event.
So in this regard, I want to extend heartfelt appreciation to the executive committee really for their unwavering dedication. We all took on the enormous task of planning all these activities, and that has brought this reunion to life really. And we're doing it in style, passion, and heart. Of course, special shout out to Wayne and Joanne. When the chat went quiet, when reunion fatigue set in, when WhatsApp felt like a battlefield of unread messages, they kept the flame burning. Their energy, persistence, and good humor reminded us why we were doing this in the first place. So thank you both for keeping the spirit alive. 35 years ago, we sat in fifth form in this very school, and I think it was the same area, or somewhere here, full of ambition, noise, hopes, dreams, and plenty of style that we would not admit to. But as the saying goes, where you start isn't where you ended. And look at us now, teachers, IT professionals, nurses, entrepreneurs, managers, parents, global citizens, spread across Dominica, the Caribbean, North America, Europe, and even Asia. But wherever life took us, we carried PSS in our homes, in our bones. This school shaped our character, forged our path, planted seeds that are still bearing fruit today. PSS tended us well. And so today we return, not just to whine on old memories, not just to reconnect, but to give back to the institution that gave us our start.
As part of their contribution, the class of 1990 presented overhead projectors and additional educational equipment to the school, which were formally handed over to Principal Mrs. Johnson. In response, Principal Johnson expressed sincere appreciation to the class of 1990 for their generosity and continued commitment to the development of Portsmouth Secondary School.
Returning class, thank you for being stalwarts of PSS. Thank you for the contribution that you have made this morning. Thank you for the memories that you have shared. Indeed, at PSS, we are moving forward on. We continue the legacy of sports. We continue to excel in academically. And so your contribution here will not go in vain. If you have the time, when school reopens, you can also feel free to drop by. Let them see your face. Let them know that there is somebody out there who have gone before them and who is excelling based on what Isabella said earlier. I'm sure that they can learn a lesson from you. Thank you very much, and do enjoy the rest of your reunion.
The United Workers' Party, UWP, held its first press conference following the recent delegates' conference, with political leader Dr. Thompson Fontaine addressing members of the media. Dr. Fontaine highlighted several social and economic issues affecting the country, outlining concerns he says continue to impact the daily lives of Dominicans.
As we end the year, we are saddened by the loss of almost 24 young men, the victims of escalating violence. Imagine the pain and suffering of the families experiencing those tragic losses. We are still reeling from the news of the partial suspension by the United States government of travel into that country by immigrants and non-immigrants beginning in January of 2026. Of profound distress to the people of Dominica is the horrific destruction of our rainforest in Demarche and the destabilization of our natural environment by the Skerrit regime. With respect to our electoral process, we have witnessed an electoral office that appears committed to disenfranchising thousands of voters by having their names removed on the list because they are unable to purchase a passport, not for travel, but to exercise their right to vote in this country. We're experiencing a crisis of governance, where scores of Dominicans under this government are facing a bleak Christmas and an even darker future. The clouds of depression, hopelessness, and extreme anguish are descending upon our people, washing away their hopes, their dreams, and their expectations of a brighter future. This Christmas, unfortunately, many families will go without, even as they witness a handful of Dominicans accumulate more wealth at the expense of state resources. This Christmas, when the rain falls, as it will, scores of Dominicans will huddle on the leaky roofs as they whisper in the dark, hoping against hope for a better, brighter future in our country.
He also expounded on the ban placed on Dominicans, sharing the party's position and raising concerns about its implications.
Allow me to take a closer look at some of the issues that I highlighted at the start. First, it was Canada, and then the United Kingdom, and now the United States. In less than 2 weeks, because of the reckless behavior, greed, and uncaring actions of the Roosevelt-Skerrit administration concerning the CBI program, thousands of Dominicans will be denied entry into the United States of America. Students looking to further their studies at U.S. universities will be forced to go elsewhere. No more Labor Day, sadly, for some to travel to New York City. Families will be separated, unable to travel for funerals and graduations and other such activities. Medical care will be denied to some. Vacation, family reunions, all of these will be curtailed. And it may get worse, because a review of the U.S. policy is expected at the end of 6 months. And if no measures are taken by this government to clean up the CBI program, a partial ban could very well become a full ban where Dominicans will not be able to travel at all to the United States. Thanks to Prime Minister Roosevelt-Skerrit for refusing to listen when the alarm was raised over 15 years ago. In fact, when I first pointed to the shortcomings of the due diligence process and the sale of our passports to crooks and criminals going back to 2009, I was accused of being unpatriotic and of destroying the country's image. In addition, I was sued in court by no one less than the Prime Minister of Dominica, Roosevelt-Skerrit, in Roosevelt-Skerrit v. Thomson-Fontaine.
Dr. Fontaine further outlined aspects of the United Workers' Party's 10-pillar plan, emphasizing that Dominica's resources and finances should directly benefit its citizens, stating that Dominica's money deserves to be in the pockets of Dominicans.
It is important that we dispel these dark, looming clouds over our nation. Let us work together in helping to build our country. Let us stop the destruction of our young people. Let us act fairly and responsibly as we reform our electoral process, and let us offer hope to our nation of a better, brighter tomorrow. The United Workers' Party, under my leadership, has a plan to do just that. Through our 10 pillars, we've shared prosperity for all, aimed at transforming this country. At the center of this plan is to restore hope to our young people, bring back our agriculture, build factories to process our products, protect our environment, increase the minimum wage, care for the elderly and vulnerable, and put this country on an irreversible path to economic growth and prosperity. Ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Dominicans, we will put this country's money in the people's pockets. Dominica's money belongs to the people of Dominica. When we do that, the result will be always better. Less poverty, more prosperity, and a greater future for all of us. I thank you.
And finally, in local news this evening, the 7th annual Rosa Christmas Village officially opens tonight at Lindo Park in Goodwill, bringing festive lights, entertainment, shopping, and family fun to kick off the Christmas season. Honorable Melissa Popon-Skerrit, the Roseau Central MP, ahead of the opening of the Christmas Village earlier today, had this to say.
This year, the Christmas Village, it will feature about 60 vendors, each of them contributing in different ways to the cultural richness and economic activity of the season. They are micro-entrepreneurs. You will find a variety of offerings. There are food vendors, artisans, service providers.
She also stated what to expect at the Christmas Village.
Tonight's opening is going to be filled with a lot to see, hear, and feel. I would say it's a full sensory celebration of Dominica's Christmas culture and the Christmas spirit. So visitors tonight, you can look forward to seeing fireworks. We have Christmas caroling with the Dominica Police Force Band. We have fire blowers delivering thrilling performances, a high energy appearance by Colin XP, our traditional Lapo Cabwit, of course, Christmas rhythms, and the Christmas tradition of bamboo bursting will be part of our celebration tonight. So it's going to be an atmosphere of excitement like never before.
And with this story, that concludes the local news this evening. Stay tuned for regional news coming up next.
We're at the different phases in life. We move at a different pace. All we need is to be supported. Cause when the baby's coming, business needs revamping, the new job starting, and you need an outfit. Let momentum hook you up. Momentum will hook you up. The wedding's planning, rent due dates coming. Momentum is your support financing. Let momentum hook you up. Momentum will hook you up.
And now for regional news. The Office of the Prime Minister has announced that more than 12,000 public sector workers in St. Lucia have received a $500 Christmas bonus, paid in addition to their regular monthly salaries. This marks the second consecutive year that the bonus has been issued, benefiting employees across the public service and statutory agencies. Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre described the payout as a fulfillment of a commitment made to public officers, emphasizing the government's pledge to support workers during the holiday season. The Prime Minister's office says the bonus reflects its continued focus on worker welfare and economic support. And now going down to Guyana. Guyana is moving rapidly to modernize its financial system and expand access to banking and investment opportunities. President Ufin Ali says more than 600,000 Guyanese are now part of the formal banking system, following simplified account opening procedures and expanded online banking services. The government will also establish a junior stock exchange and launch an SME development bank, offering up to $10 million in zero collateral financing for small and medium businesses, with micro enterprises eligible for zero-interest loans. The bank, backed by an initial US $200 million, is expected to be operational by early 2026, with priority support for youth, women, and persons with disabilities. And now moving up to Jamaica. 50 days after Hurricane Melissa, Jamaica continues to struggle with recovery from unprecedented devastation. The UN estimates damage between $8 and $15 billion, nearly a quarter of the country's GDP. At least 120,000 buildings lost roofs, power outages lasted weeks in western parishes, and nearly 450 schools were damaged, keeping many children out of class. Tourism and agriculture have been heavily impacted, threatening jobs and livelihoods. The UN says it is working with the Jamaican government and partners to restore services, rebuild infrastructure, and support a resilient recovery.
The United Nations is aligning its support with the national recovery priorities to help communities restore livelihoods, rebuild essential services, and recover with dignity.
And that's all for regional news this evening. Stay tuned for international news after this message. And now for international news. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has announced a major $35 billion natural gas agreement with Egypt, describing it as the largest gas deal in Israel's history. The deal, valued at approximately 112 billion shekels, involves US-based energy company Chevron and will see Israeli gas supplied to Egypt. Netanyahu said the agreement strengthens Israel's position as a regional energy power, promotes stability, and is expected to encourage further investment in offshore gas exploration. Sources indicate the deal had been delayed for months and was finalized amid pressure from the United States, as President Donald Trump continues efforts to broker a summit between Netanyahu and Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and expand regional cooperation under the Abraham Accords. Egyptian officials stress that the agreement is strictly commercial with no political implications. Egypt says the deal aligns with its goal of becoming a regional gas hub in the Eastern Mediterranean, while reaffirming its long-standing support for Palestinian rights. Although Israel and Egypt signed a peace treaty in 1979, their leaders have not met publicly in nearly a decade. Netanyahu is expected to travel to the United States later this month to meet President Trump, as speculation continues about a possible meeting with President el-Sisi. A German court has convicted a 61-year-old man on repeatedly drugging, raping, and secretly filming his unconscious wife over several years, in a case drawing comparisons to the Dominica Pellicot trial in France. The school janitor was found guilty of abusing his wife inside their home, recording the assaults and sharing the footage online without her knowledge. A court in Aachen, Western Germany, sentenced him to 8 years and 6 months in prison. Prosecutors said an appeal may be filed within a week. The verdict comes 1 year after Frenchman Dominique Pellicot was convicted of aggravated rape for orchestrating years of abuse against his then-wife, involving dozens of other men. And finally, in international news, Russian President Vladimir Putin says his forces are making progress in Ukraine as the war moves into another winter. Speaking at his annual televised press conference in Moscow, Putin claimed Russian troops are advancing across the front lines and warned that Russia would take more Ukrainian territory by forces if peace talks fail. His comments come as the United States pushes for a negotiated end to the war, while European leaders fear any deal could force Ukraine to give up land. Fighting continues, and Putin says Russia wants a deal, but only on its own terms. And that's all for international news. Stay tuned for the sports segment after this message. And now for the sports segment. At full time in the Division 1 President Cup semi-final, Bath Estate FC recorded a dominant 3-0 win over Mighty Avengers FC, wrapping up a competitive night of action at the DFA Technical Centre. West Indies responded strongly after New Zealand declared on 575 for 8 in the third test at Mount Maungani, finishing day 2 on 110 without loss. Openers Brandon King and John Campbell put on a century opening stand, with King unbeaten on 55 and Campbell on 45, cutting into a daunting deficit with positive stroke play. Earlier, Devon Conway led New Zealand's innings with a commanding double century, while Tom Latham added 137. Rachin Ravindra clipped in with an unbeaten 72 as the hosts piled on the runs. Despite missing injured pacer Kima Roach, West Indies bowlers showed improved discipline, taking 7 wickets on the day, including the prized scalp of Kane Williamson. The visitors still trail by 465 runs, but their strong response at the crease has kept the content alive heading into day 3. And that wraps up the sports segment this evening. Stay tuned for the weather report. And this brings us to the end of tonight's news broadcast for the 19th of December 2025. I'm your presenter, Rick Francis. On behalf of the entire newscast, we say thank you for viewing. This is Emo Nightly News, every moment online. Have a good weekend.